England, we have a problem.
Hello, welcome to episode 70 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is John Denton. With me as always, Chet Roivas.
You're ghosting us, motherfucker. I don't care who you are back in the world. If you give our position away one more time, I'll bleed you real quiet, leave you here. Got that?
If you've never listened to the podcast before, I imagine you've already switched off. 2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. Let's do this thing, Chet.
Okay, right, my number 10 is a game called Dumb Runner on iOS. I played it on the iPhone. It's another game that I'm sorry, I can't remember where I found it. I'm 90% sure it is still free, so it's a free game, but I wouldn't advise playing it. It's an absurdly basic, it's not really a platform. There's a line across the middle of the screen, and you're a little guy walking along it. Tap the screen, you'll flip upside down, and you'll be upside down. Flip it again, you go on the other side. There's another move, which is like a skid move, so you can slide under blocks. Basically, very small blocks come, you have to avoid them, so you flip from side to side to side, or you can slide on the ones that are slightly higher up. It's unbelievably difficult, even on easy. You put it on easy, it's unbelievably difficult. You play it for a maximum of about 60 seconds. I mean, the top whack, 60 seconds on easy mode, and it becomes brutally difficult. It's incredibly basic. It looks like it's someone's first game. And the music, imagine selecting the most irritating 2 seconds of the Seinfeld theme tune and then putting it on an endless loop. That's what it is. So not recommended. Dumb Runner, stay away.
I couldn't even imagine that music.
Yeah, it's horrible. Coupled with a pointlessly difficult game, it's fucking irritating, I'll tell you that.
That almost makes me want to play it, just to experience the hell.
Well, download it, Dumb Runner.
All right, Dumb Runner.
Get on. Yeah.
I'm there. My number 10, really simple, is Metro Last Light. I told you I'm crawling through this game, and a pathetic effort. I played it for about 10 minutes and then realised that I wasn't really in the mood, so I turned it off. I don't have anything more to say, but I've not played enough games this week, so I had to put that on the top of the list. One day I'll get to the end of it. It's not even that long.
Oh, okay. How do you know that?
Because you can see how many chapters there are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I've actually got Metro here, so I'm going to start that ASAP. Yeah. So I'll speak about that hopefully next week. My number 9 is a game called Fanny Granny's Great Escape on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game, and it's genuinely not bad. It's a driving game, and it's kind of rendered in Outrun style. It's deliberately meant to look retro. So the death screen, the game over screen, hangs on a horrible high-pitched noise like a crashed Spectrum game. And yeah, you're just a granny in a little granny cart driving forward at ridiculously high speeds, and there's 3 lanes. All you can do literally is tap to jump from left to right to left to right. So there's 3 lanes. You avoid the traffic. You jump up to grab collectibles and fruit, and then you build a boost meter where you just hammer it and smash through everything. The reason I cited Outrun is because I'm pretty sure there are little pointers like the flags that you pass when you get to a checkpoint. As soon as I saw one go past, I was like, that looks like the flags that you used to pass in Outrun. It's very simple, but it's surprisingly gripping because after a while you go so fast that everything's you have to anticipate everything. So as the split second you see something come over the hill, bounce. It's completely passable. Actually, rather good. I don't know if there's much shelf life to it, but it's I liked it.
80 pointage?
80 points. Fanny Granny's Great Escape. It's really not bad.
I don't know how you find this shit, honestly. I really don't. All right, my number 9 is a game I can't talk about, but it's Pikmin 3. I started playing it today. I can't talk about it because of rules. In fact, I haven't signed anything or anything, but, you know, I don't want to get anyone else in trouble. It looks nice. I think I can probably say that because we already knew that it looks nice. And, yeah, Nintendo make good games, but we already knew that anyway, so that's not breaking the embargo either.
When is the embargo up?
It was originally the 11th, and now it's changed to the 22nd, which is, I'm pretty sure, after the game is out in America. Oh. But that might just be some sort of admin error. Don't worry about that, is what I'd say.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I've got a wholehearted belief in that game. You bastard. Okay, my number 8 is A Second Chance, the Newgrounds game that you spoke about last week.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, you said that you control the Houston We Have a Problem guy.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Why?
Because Houston We Have a Problem is what they say when they're in space, and Houston is the problem solvers. on the ground.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
he wouldn't say that up to them, would he?
Exactly.
That wouldn't be much of a vote of confidence.
But then again, I'm an idiot. I only realised it like, bing, a week later, like fucking Homer Simpson. It is very good. Like you said, it's a perfect game for the format because you play it, you can do it in about 5-10 minutes, and it's very entertaining. You basically, as you said last week, you have to pilot command a ship to the moon. They drop a bomb. Everything you do is at the touch of a button. So drop bomb, get back in the spaceship, power the spaceship on. You basically have to fulfill about 20 commands in total, but it's really easy to mistakenly jump the gun. Like once I got the rocket to the moon, I forgot to turn the engines off, and I just pressed take off again, and it went straight back to England. It went straight back. It went straight back to Earth, and then the world blew up. And yeah, there's that amusing animation of the guy slapping his forehead, which is really funny because like every time I died, the guy mimicked what I'd done. And yeah, it's really funny. You can do it in about 5 minutes. It wants everyone to succeed. It's really straightforward. You have to press. It's like monkey see, monkey do. There are 20 commands to do in order. Although it's easy to jump the gun and make mistakes. But a second chance. It's on Newgrounds, as you said. So it's actually quite hard to find because if you search it in Google, something else comes up, and it isn't even on the first and the second page of Google. So if you're interested, go to Newgrounds first and then search for second chance in there. It's it's permanently in like the highest rated, I think.
All right, we'll tweet it out on the Chet and John's Twitter feed.
Yeah, all right, sound.
Well, if we don't forget.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right, my number 8 is Bastion. Sorry, I wrote that in such bad handwriting that it looked like Batman. Bastion on the iPhone, which cost 69p this week. It was weird because I was just thinking to myself that very day, I really fancy this game Bastion because everybody's talking about their new game, the Transistor. Excuse me, on PS4, and this is Super Giant Games. I think they're based in San Francisco. Anyway, they Bastion. Everyone was banging on about how good it is, and it came out on the iPhone for 69p. It is a dungeon crawler where the levels make themselves as you're walking through them. They kind of fall down from the sky, and the big hook about the game is that every one of your actions is voiced over by like a really well acted. Halfway between Sin City style noir and someone from the Old West kind of narrating everything you do. You play as the kid and he's always talking about the kid. You know, I can't do impressions, so I'm not going to do it. But all that stuff's really good. And it made me, as I was playing it, it made me think I really like this, but I think that I might be missing out on playing it properly by trying to play it on a phone. Because the controls are okay. You press on the screen where you want the guy to go, and he'll kind of aim automatically at the enemies. But I know it's a twin-stick game on Xbox and whatnot, and on PC.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just felt like I was maybe compromising what looks like a very, very good game, very stylish and very fun as well. So I have a sneaking suspicion it might end up in the Steam Summer Sale because I think it did before, and I've got a feeling it might be available for a few quid in a few weeks, so I'm going to hold fire on the iPhone version and get the PC version, I think, because, yeah, I definitely want to play it.
Is it combat heavy, then?
It's like Diablo. It's hacking, it's just smashing everything up and getting XP and whatnot.
Why is it so highly... I mean, for some reason I've put that's a game that I never even thought to play. Why have I got such a strange idea about it? I didn't realise it was like that. I thought there was no combat in it. I thought it was like a puzzler or something.
Oh, no. Is it
an isometric?
Isometric, full-on action dungeon crawler type thing.
Weird. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to remember. Good to know. So you're going to bail on the iOS version? Yeah,
it's really nicely done. Then the controls are fine, but it just felt like A, I won't finish it on a phone. There's no chance. I did not unlike. And B, it did feel like I was perhaps spoiling the experience, and I've only got the very old iPad, and it doesn't work on that fucking piece of junk. So, the hell was that? Fucking tuba in the background.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
Okay. And yeah, so I think it'd probably be quite good on an iPad or even an iPad Mini, just because you got that bit more screen space, and you could maybe play with classic controls on that because it has that too. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be on PC. £3. That's my prediction.
All right, okay, noted. Okay, my number 7 is Contra Last Hero on PC, I should say, on a browser. It's another Newgrounds game. I've never been on Newgrounds, really. I've been linked to games specifically, but I've never gone on there and just had a look round.
Yeah.
at least 50% of it is knockoffs, all starring Mario and Sonic and fucking Contra. There's even chess knockoffs. So everything's got a licensed character in it that's just begging to be taken down.
Chess knockoffs?
Well, not knockoffs, but so many. I saw way more chess games than you should see on the highest rated section of a games website. So this is it's Contra. Contra Last Hero. I thought I'd try it. For a moment, I thought it was like a SNES or a NES game that they'd just ported straight to Flash. It's not. It's a really, really basic rip-off of Contra. It's fucking awful when you shoot enemies. Hunks. It looks like blood at first, but after a while it turns multicolored and it looks like hunks of sponge cake. There's no there's no flat ground, so it's just like mountains. It's so basic. You can't shoot downwards, obviously, so enemies can shoot you. I mean, you're supposed to use bombs, but the bombs are less powerful than the pea shoot you've got. You never get given any other weapons either. It scrolls automatically, so you can't bypass any of it. You're just sort of walking along. The same enemies endlessly respawn. Occasionally they drop at random from the sky and hit you on the head, and then you die after about sort of 30-40 seconds. It's fucking bullshit, but then again, that's the point. It's someone, whoever put that up probably is just sort of seeing how long they can keep it up there, because I should imagine, don't companies go on there all the time to make sure that the IP isn't being abused?
I'm sure. But that's Konami. I don't think they do a lot.
Okay, well, and there have been Contra games, official Contra games, that have been shitter than this one. But in seriousness, no, it's fucking awful. Contra Last Hero, don't even give it another thought.
Yeah, I won't touch that shit.
Genuine.
Right, my number 7 is Animal Crossing on the 3DS again. People seem to have played it so much. They seem to have done everything and filled up their town and done all this stuff. It only came out like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. I just play it for 20 minutes at a time. And I still don't really know what I'm doing, and I think that's kind of the point. But I guess the people who've done so much have probably played Animal Crossings before, and they know what they're doing. They're just like getting there, paying off their loan and whatnot. But I'm quite happy just meandering about in that world for 20 minutes. All the people in my world make me laugh, and then I can just switch it off. There's a little monkey that's dressed in a racing outfit, and who else is there? I talked about the bird, haven't I, that works out. He's cool. He reminds me of my mate Simon, Simon Miller. And it's really nice. I don't think it's going to grab me quite as much as it has some people. Some other games journos are going absolutely nuts for it.
Yeah, but aren't they all interacting with each other and going into each other's towns and stuff online?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because I only ever know half of the facts of life.
Okay, I'm tempted. I mean, that makes me more tempted than ever to buy it, because then I'd just come into your town and terrorise the shit out of it.
Well, yeah, that would be fun.
I might have to do
I would enjoy switching my thing on and just seeing that you've just murdered all the people in my town. Or something.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to get hold of it because I am seeing so much talk about it on Twitter, and it sounds hilarious. So I will. That's top of my list at the moment now that I've got Metro in the bank. Okay, my number 6 is a game called Chock-a-Block on iOS. It's a fairly new puzzle game. I think it's actually very new. I got a message via our YouTube channel from a guy saying, here's a gift because I so love your Battlefield 3 videos. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I don't know whether that's he just sent that to, he just somehow sent out an automatically generated message that went out to anyone who makes Batters videos. But I was like, oh, fair play, that's nice. It's actually really rather good. It's a combination of two kinds of puzzle game. It's a Bejeweled knockoff, except they're squares and not jewel-shaped. And I can't remember the name of this game type. Sokoban, I think. It's do you remember Cubist creatures?
Yes and no. Basically, what's that?
Fuck, I should have really looked into this. You move. It's games where you can only move in up, down, left, or right, and there's blocks on the screen, and sometimes those blocks block you from getting to a certain place. So you have to maneuver around it by hitting other blocks. And if you hit a block on one side, the blocks don't move; they're static. Basically, you play it as Bejeweled, and as you play it, it's the yellow ones make orange ones, the orange ones make red ones, and the red ones make one black square that you can't move. So you have to. That can stitch you up. Basically, you can cause yourself to get fucked over if you make those black ones in the wrong place. Sokoban, I'm sure that's right. It's basically it's all very well doing the Bejeweled stuff, but you have to make sure that you can still move your other pieces around when those black ones are in the way. It's really good. I haven't played it anywhere near enough, but I was expecting the worst because there are so many fucking dry puzzle games on iOS, and this came sort of out of nowhere. Yeah, so I'm going to play it some more. It definitely grabbed me, and there's so many. There's all the modes you'd expect from a sort of Bejeweled clone. So there's classic Zen mode, beat the clock. There's specific challenges. Yeah, it looks like a nice little game. I think that I think there's a free version that's just got ads on it, and then there's a 69p one without. But it's worth a look. Chock-a-block. It's actually not bad at all, if a little bit derivative.
Sokoban.
Yeah, that's like a classic, like decades-old Japanese game type. I think I played Sokoban for beginners recently. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I might be completely. I mean, Cubist Creatures is the one it really reminded me of, because that's.
What was that one? I know that name.
Yeah, you played it before I did. I think you spoke about it on one of the first episodes of this podcast, and I played it.
What's happened to me?
Yeah, it was happened to us both.
Yeah, that game. That was wicked.
Yeah, squares moving around, but if they go, yeah. I probably not made any sense, but if you like iOS puzzlers, Chock-a-block is free for an ad one. It's worth it.
Cubist Creatures was alright.
It was alright.
It was pure Sokoban. Right. My number 6 is Frobisher Says on the Vita. I've always avoided this game for a really weird reason. Basically, when I worked at HSBC for 14 months of putting numbers in boxes, it was a bad time. And the building that I worked in Southampton was called Frobisher House. So anything that had anything to do with that word, I didn't want anything to do with it. Right. But I've got over that now, some 9 years later. So I downloaded this game. It said it was free, but I think I just got the trial. Anyway, it's WarioWare for the Vita. But it's quite good, actually, because it uses the stuff that's in the Vita as well to in the micro games. Like, it will do stuff where suddenly it will use the camera and you'll see your own room, and it will go find something that's green, and you have to scan around the room to find something that's green, and it will tell you whether you've done it or not. And then that image will come back later, 3 or 4 games later, and it's like, okay, make it blue, and you've got a catapult, and you can just like splat your walls blue and stuff like that. Yeah. It's pretty good. It started to repeat games very quickly, so I don't know if that was just a trial or what. I didn't really. It just jumped straight into the game, and it didn't explain what it was or anything like that, and it was all very weird. But it wasn't. It was like, as far as WarioWare rip-offs go, it was pretty good. But if the whole thing had been free, and I thought it was a PS Plus game, I'd probably play the whole thing, but I don't know if I'd buy it.
Yeah. Is it really old?
I think it launched when the Vita launched.
Exactly, I was going to say, because I remember playing a minigame compendium that sounded exactly like that at like a launch before the console came out. So it might have been free if it's that old.
Yeah, it just only seemed to download the trial though. I'll check it out again. I'll turn it on and see what Guan.
All right,
but it was all right, and I'm over the Frobisher drama.
Good, celebrate good times. My number 5 is Spartacus Legends on the Xbox 360.
Oh, fuck, I meant to download this.
Yeah, it's also available on PSN. I'm going to keep playing it because all of my friends, every last one of them, is completely and utterly hooked on it.
Really?
It's incredibly ropey. I think at one point it was a big budget. It was going to be a big budget, £40 in the shops retail disc game. But it isn't. It's now a free-to-play game, and it's... At first, you start playing and you're just like, everything about this is terrible. I mean, the cutscenes are absolutely hilarious. I don't know how... I mean, I do know how they did them. What they did is they took some ropey TV footage. And when I say TV footage, it looks like footage that if you go into a museum, they've reenacted something from with the staff. And it's, you just know when it's really bad TV, when the camera's like, the light hits glass and it reflects a certain... it looks really cheap. Yeah. But they've layered so many filters on top of it. So at first you're like, is that animation? Is that a cartoon? And then you're just like, you're not fooling anyone, you fucking dipshits. It's just a load of filters. I mean, it looks so ropey, it's not even funny. That's not true. It's very amusing indeed. It's basically, you've seen it, it's a fighting game. It's a beat 'em up. Really simple. I mean, I think there's 2, possibly 3 buttons. There's a block. There's a grab move. It's so straightforward. And but... there is something satisfying about playing. I mean, it's just lunk-headed nonsense, but there are a couple of things that are good about it. First off, you have to earn the right... There's fatalities, and when I say fatalities, it will come up saying press one of the 4 face buttons, and then you'll do a really, really mundane execution. But you can't just do that whenever you want. You have to earn the right to it, because you have to sort of dish out sustained punishment and sort of get the crowd going.
Right.
And the other thing is that I'm not sure if I imagined this, but basically, if you and your opponent perform a similar move at the same time, so you both perform like a heavy attack, it will go into slow-mo. And on a couple of occasions I've noticed that the opponent was his sword was going to hit me before mine was going to hit him, so I've pressed block and in slow motion along with so you basically can see yourself trying to block, and on the couple of occasions I was, whoa, I just got a block in before he hit me. That was really cool. If that's correct, I might be completely wrong about that. The only thing that I'd say about it, it's mindless fun. You basically, the other strange thing about it is that you can't stat up your fighters. You basically you manage them as well as doing the fighting. But you basically can have up to 5 fighters, and you keep them in your sort of clubhouse. I don't know. I can't remember what they called it. You basically you're like a slave owner. You're not a slave owner. This never comes up. It's the structure of the game. You've got 5. You can have up to 5 fighters, and you send them to different fights. You can't stack them up. You can only give them different equipment and different armor and stuff like that, which you earn from fighting, and you can also earn from microtransactions, which is the whole reason this game's free. Xbox Live support is fucked. I don't know whether that's permanent. I don't know whether we were doing something wrong. I don't know whether not enough people are playing it. But the only way you can play online is if you go to. There's a map that has all the fights you can pick, and one of them's an online, and it says you are queued to fight on Xbox Live a matched opponent. But it just sits there, just hangs there, and you can't do anything while you're waiting. It's not like Street Fighter 4 where you can sort of say that you'll accept incoming battles, and then it will bounce you out of the one-player game. You can't do anything. You sit there in the menu, and me and 3 of us were sitting in the same menu, and it wouldn't put any of us together, and we just sat there for I think I left mine on for about 20-25 minutes, and it didn't join anything, so I think it's actually broken. It just hangs there, and you can't quick match, and there's no traditional way of finding a fight. It's just a mindless brawler that requires almost no skill at all, but it's funny. I'm
going to download it.
So it's
free.
Yeah. It's worth a look. It's free. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's. I don't know how aggressive the microtransactions are because I haven't played it enough, but it's definitely worth a look, I suppose. I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I totally meant to do it, but completely forgot. So that reminded me.
Yeah, it's free and it's not completely awful, and it's quite funny. So
can you hack people's arms off?
I think you probably can. I think that's one of the fatalities actually, but it looks like shit. It feels like shit. It's actually a poor game that probably was going to be something a bit bigger at one point, but it's free, so it's hard to.
Did you ever play that Capcom game, Last Generation? What was it called? Something of Rome. Shadows of Rome? It's like a big, lunky brawler where you could just like hack the shit out of people.
Yeah, you know what? Did you say Capcom?
Yeah, it was a Capcom game.
Was it a Capcom game? I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember it being a Capcom game. But I don't fucking remember it, so don't listen to me.
No, it was pure Kappas.
I'm almost certain I did, because that rings a bell, but, maybe I'm talking shite. But yeah, Spartacus Legends is on PSN as well. Download the bastard.
I will indeed. Talking of downloading the bastard, I downloaded Rayman Ledge on Vita because... No, not Rayman Ledge, Rayman Origins on Vita because it was free. Well, PS Plus free. And... yeah, it's a fucking weird game. Rayman Legends seems, from what I've played of that, the demo of that seems a bit more focused, and I thought maybe I'd been a bit harsh about Origins when I played Legends, but no, I kind of stand by what I said about it. It's very good, but very confused. There's so many choices that you can play 4-player, you can go this way, you can go that way, you can collect all these secrets, that the whole time I felt like I was just missing out instead of just playing the game. And I got the exact same feeling again this time, but this time I just decided to say, fuck it, I'm going to play a single-player game, just get through the levels as best I can. And then I started to enjoy it more, and it looks so nice on the Vita screen, such a perfect fit for that game. It's Rayman, innit? 2D, good platforming, that feels nice, funny, good music, good interactions with all the other stuff on screen, looks good. I don't know what more to say. I'm looking forward to the new one.
So you did like it or you didn't?
I ended up liking it, yeah. I didn't... Before I was a little bit unsure about it. I thought that it was cool, but it wasn't as good as... Wasn't up there with like the greatest 2D platformers, but now I'm a little bit more lenient on it. But what I played of Legends and seen of Legends, that looks fucking awesome, properly. Especially on Wii U with all the stuff on the second screen.
Yeah. I loved that game at the time. I likened it... I didn't liken it. I said that it was as good as... Was there a Mario game released that year?
Maybe the Wii one.
Yeah, the Wii 2D one, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But I thought it was it's the best Rayman game by some distance.
I never played any other Rayman games. I don't think I never played any of them back in the day.
Yeah, I did, and they were okay. Some of them were not great at all. Okay, my number 4 is a game called Saturn 9 on the Xbox 360. It is an indie game, and I downloaded it because it's a brand new indie game. And Saturn 9 reminds me of Saturn 3. Have you ever seen Saturn 3?
No.
One of the worst films ever made, Kirk Douglas. But I saw it at a young age, so I absolutely love it. It's really, really actually pretty good. It's quite slight, but try the trial, basically. It's a first-person shooter. No, it's not a first-person shooter. It's a first-person game that is capitalising on the success of White Noise and White Noise Online. There is a real hunger for horror games on Xbox. I'm surprised that there's a real community of people who love those. Love that style of game on Xbox, especially. I didn't realise it at the time, but after I'd finished it, I realised that the guy who's made it's a one-man band called, I've forgotten. But the last game he made was Bulkhead, and before that he made Vampire Hunter FPS. Those two were really uninteresting kind of stadium shooters that were filled with bots, and then there was a multiplayer mode. I mean, it was just that they were functional, but they had nothing of interest. This is much more interesting, and you can see it from the trial. You arrive on a space station, and you're trying to solve a mystery of what happened because the crew are all dead, and it's just really, there's some neat puzzles. There's some very, very understated shocks in it. You get a sense of basically the first thing you do is you find some audio logs, and it's a multinational crew all reading this sort of very, very mundane stuff about what they've been doing with it. There's a Scottish woman and there's 2 American blokes, and you're just like, wow, this is actually well acted and reasonably well written, which is a real surprise. And the longer it goes on, I should say the longer it goes on, if there's one issue with it, it is very slight. I mean, you can probably complete the whole thing in considerably less than an hour. I reckon you could do it in about 40 minutes.
Oh, right.
But for 80 Microsoft points, I kind of like the fact that I started it and then I finished it, and I was entertained throughout. There's some really cool things in it. I don't want to spoil any of them because there are nods to one of my favourite games of all time, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. There's some just really nice moments, some really nice puzzles in them. Very simple, it's very small. The only disappointment is that the final level is basically Slender, where you have to find these 5 audio logs and then get the hell out of the airlock. But it's not like Slender in the fact that you're always, if you see something, you can get away from it. Whereas Slenderman's kind of just, it will spring out on you out of nowhere, and it's cheap and shit.
Cheap twat.
Yeah. The frame rate is not massively consistent. It's very, very basic. But the frame rate dropping doesn't really distract because it's not a fast-paced game or anything like that. And there are some scripted sequences. I mean, it's just really inventive. It's an indie developer who's made stuff that was not particularly exciting, stepping up. And if you're a fan of those sort of horror games, this is really, really not a bad one at all. I was quite surprised. It's Saturn 9. It's worth a look.
All right. Yeah, I might check that out.
Yeah, I mean, some people. I mean, there's games like Mount Your Friends and One Finger Death Punch and stuff that aim to offer you as much content as possible, and that's great. But I love the fact that 80 Microsoft points is nothing, and you get a vaguely cinematic experience for about 40, 50 minutes, and then it's over. And I'm really impressive, actually.
Yeah. Saturn 9.
Saturn 9, definitely worth a look. The trial's enough to give you a sense of whether you want to persevere with it or not.
Yeah. All right. My number 4 is Cine Mora, another PS Plus freebie on Vita. It's all right. It's like it gives you the choice early on to play on normal or like hardcore mode. I can't remember what it calls it, professional. I don't know. Yeah. So I picked normal, and it's way too easy. It's not hard at all. I mean, I'm no expert at these sorts of games, as I've said many times, but this is just, I can move a thing. I can move a thing through a thing, and it's just way too easy. So I've just kind of been plodding through it. It's like kind of cool. The music's really downbeat and ambient. It's by the guy who did the music for Silent Hill and the old Pro Evo music and stuff, and the music in Shadows of the Damned as well.
Oh, fair enough.
Akira Yamaka, my boy. But nothing about it was grabbing me. What I like about those cave shooters that you play is how fucking manic they are, and I can't play them because they're too much. Like I said, I need a game that's a stepping stone to that, I think. This doesn't feel like that. I know it's a sidey rather than an uppity, but it's just, I know if I whack it onto the highest difficulty level, it's just going to piss me off. So I was hoping for something that, it was a bit more of a challenge, because this is just a procession. But it looks nice and it sounds nice. It looks nice on Vita as well, and the style's kind of cool. I call it steampunk because I don't know anything about anything, but that'll do. Planes and fucking robots and shit, biplanes. It's just something about it that doesn't quite grab me. But I swear when I played it on Xbox, it was fucking had the talking pig in it, and I couldn't find him on Vita, so I don't know what's going on there.
I'm pretty sure there is a talking pig in it, yeah. Talking animals throughout it, actually. Cinemore is a fucking weird one. I think I've played too many absolutely world-class cave games, or world-class shooters in general. It just felt like a cover version. It just felt like it didn't measure up. I mean, I can't remember specifically what my issues were with it, but every time I went back to it, I was just like, this is just kind of hollow. It is a strange one, Cinemore, and it's still sat at the, it's on my hard drive. I will play it again, but I don't get the love.
Yeah, I quite like the way it has, like the conceits that it has with, you get more powerful weapons, and when you get hit, they kind of fly out of you like Sonic and his rings, and you have to collect them back, and you have the trade in for the time slowdown. But if you don't use that, I think you can eventually speed up or something like that. I'm not sure, but I like all that stuff. But again, it just wasn't. I needed it to be harder, but not as hard as it was inevitably going to be if I put it out to super hard, and it would just annoy me.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a funny one, that game. Okay, right. Number 3 is Crisis on the Xbox 360.
Oh, this was cheap, wasn't it?
It's part of this ongoing Xbox sale, which hopefully is a sign of things to come. I've been meaning to buy Crisis since I heard they'd done a port of it, because I never played the PC original, and it's been £20 and it's now £4 something. So I snapped it up straight away. It's a very good port. There are technical problems with it, but it does feel much more like a £40. It feels much more like a Crisis 2. I mean, the pyrotechnics aren't the same. It's obviously a downscale, but they've treated it with a lot of love. And the only comparison point, really, because there haven't been many sort of old games that have been console exclusive, download only. The only other one I can think of is Resident Evil 4, and Capcom just completely bastardised the shit out of that game. They just treated it like shit, and this is the flip side of that coin completely. Initially, I started playing it and I was completely apathetic. I was like, I didn't realise it at the time, but I think Crisis 3 really did burn me out.
Right.
And I don't know how many times did you play it?
Oh, the fucking alpha Seth. 3 and a half times, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I could have done that.
Yeah, that's why when I saw it in the sale, I was like, no, I can't. I just fucking can't.
Yeah. But I was like that. I was like, I've done all this. They're teaching you how to use your suit, and I'm like, fair play. It's the first in the series, but I can't really be bothered. I've done this now. But as you play it, you realise that it's actually more. I can understand. People say at the time of Crisis 2, I was like, it's a fantastic game, and there was a section of people who were just like, it's nothing on it. They've completely ruined it. It's because Crisis 1 is much more like Far Cry.
Yeah,
I had no idea it was completely open, and I've spent a lot of my time trying to find, ditching vehicles and trying to find ways up to get to certain places and stuff. It felt like I was playing Far Cry 3 again. All of the buildings that you come across, admittedly they're shacks mainly, but they're really destructible, and it's just really good. It's like it's completely. As someone who's completely burnt out on the whole idea of Crisis, the whole idea of flipping between stealth and like hardcore action, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I've only done a couple of hours, but it's fantastic, and at the moment it would have been worth the £20 that I didn't end up paying for it. So for £4 something, you can't miss out on it. It's like discovering a proper classic. I shouldn't say that. I've only played a couple of hours, but. I suppose it's the fact that it's taken me from just like I can't really be bothered to play this to being genuinely excited about finishing it or continuing with it, I should say. It's quite something. So I'm sure it's not a patch on what it was on the PC, but for £4, and I'm looking forward to playing some more of it. It reminded me of Far Cry, and Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that's no bad thing.
Not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I might. If it stays that cheap, I might just grab it. But then again, I won't really have the 360 that much longer. I don't know. I don't know. £4, I might just grab it anyway.
Why not?
Yeah, because it's £4. That's why not. But that's also why.
Exactly.
Philosophy. Talking of philosophy, my next game sounds a bit like that word. It is Velocity on PlayStation Vita. Have you ever heard of this game? It's a PSN game.
I don't think so.
I think it's actually called Velocity Ultra. Right, let me try and explain it. It's basically a scrolling 2D shooter, but the real trick about it is that you can teleport. That the whole game is based around teleporting. You can basically drag a cursor to where you want to go and let go, and your ship will teleport there. So there'll be stuff like you're going up one path, and then the stuff that you need is on another path. There's a wall in the way, and you teleport through the wall and keep going up. You can press a button to make things scroll faster. There's not a lot of enemies. It's more just about either getting through the level as quickly as you can before the time runs out, or surviving the enemies and getting squished by the walls and whatnot, and trying to collect all the stuff along the way. It is fucking brilliant. It is a brilliant game. The trial, I couldn't believe it. I thought that something had gone wrong. It is 16 levels long, and it lasts I reckon it lasts an hour. It's an amazing trial. That's why it's so high up on my list. I went and played the trial, and then I bought the game after that, where you get another 30-odd levels afterwards. It starts well and then just keeps getting better and better and better. And when you get the hang of teleporting, which you do very quickly, the level of dexterous satisfaction just from playing the game, and this is on PS3 as well. It's just tremendous. You quickly start. You've got infinite teleport, so you just flick this side. Oh, there's an enemy about to get me. Flick behind him, blow him up. Smash the glass. Collect the fucking pod things that you got to collect, and then the levels will test your ability to teleport quickly. So it's like left, right, and then you learn a bit later on that you can drop what do you call it? Like a spawn point basically behind you. Yeah. So you have to go up the left side of a branching path to hit 2 switches, quickly switch back to the spawn point, go up the other side, quickly teleport. It's fucking great. If there's one person I know will love it, it's you.
It's a PSN exclusive.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's that and Hotline Miami then. I'm going to have to sort of turn on my PlayStation and go online with it for the first time in God knows how long. Yeah.
Make sure you set aside a morning to download all the updates.
Yeah. How much was it?
It's like £6, I think.
Okay.
But you get the trial, mate. The trial's massive. I thought there was something wrong. I think the trial's way too long, in fact, because I imagine most people would just play that.
Yeah, but there's something. Yeah, I've played trials like that, and you're sort of also partially quite grateful that they've been as gracious as they have.
I was completely grateful. Yeah.
Okay. What was
it's a very, very good game.
What was it called?
Velocity. I think it's called Velocity Ultra, but if not, it's just Velocity or something. Okay, Velocity's the word anyway.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, that's another excuse.
It's very good.
Okay. All right. Done. Okay. My number 2 is Battlefield 3. I'll keep it brief. Battlefield 3 is like a virus because it basically, for the first time since it came out, me and all of my friends decided that we're bored of 2 of our favourite maps, Seine Crossing and Grand Bazaar. We've done them too many times, and we finally just got to a point where we all said, this is boring. And then we just, as if by magic, the next 2 on the roster were Tala Market and Marquez Monolith from Aftermath. And they're 2 of the best maps in the game by far, and we didn't realise it. So now we're just completely in love with the Aftermath map pack, and the love is back. It was so bizarre to watch it happen, and over the course of an evening where we were sort of. It happened a few weeks ago. We were just like, we're done with this, aren't we? And then it just was like a virus came back to life.
I don't think viruses come back to life.
What did I? Yeah. What was it? Virus. It moves
you can't.
around.
You can't be cured with antibiotics.
It just like it spreads or something.
Dr. Roivus.
It spreads. Just when you think it can't, it comes back to life. I don't know.
You've watched too many 80s horror movies.
No, do you know what it was? It made sense, and I don't know why I've just written the word virus.
No, Battlefield basically, it all made sense until you said it comes back to life. But I do know what you mean. I know what you mean. It didn't for me, though. It died. My immune system killed it.
Okay, well, that's a shame.
But I'm still up for Batters 4, you know this.
Yeah, PGG.
Tell you what I am up for. One Finger Death Punch on Xbox Live Indie Games or whatever the hell. I knew it sounded good when you were talking about it last week. I often say I'll check something out, but this time I actually meant it. And yeah, so I immediately just jumped on, didn't even bother getting the trial, just paid for it, 80 points, whatever the hell that cost, 68p according to Sam. Fuck me, it's like a game that was built from my mind. Just brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll describe it. The best way I've described it to people this week is, you know that GIF of the fucking GIF, I don't care, the stick man beating everyone up and he like decapitates people and he's doing martial arts.
Yeah,
it's a really famous one. This is basically the game of that with a weird rhythm action control input. Like you said last week, it's just 2 buttons. You're a stickman in the middle. Enemies come from the left and right on 2D planes. When they get into your zone either side, you can press the button to attack them. Somehow, the developers, Silver Dollar Games, have turned this into such a fucking epic undertaking that it feels like you're, like Donnie Yen or something, Jet Li.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. I'm constantly blown away. I sat down and put it on and with the intention of playing it for about 10 minutes just to see what it was like. And I was like, I'm going to turn this off because I'm going to play this whole game without moving. I will not move. Yeah. So I wanted to turn it off just because I would have just had this on my list. Just the way, like the barriers where the little men come in. It's a really hard game to explain.
Yeah, I know.
And then they'll stretch out as you do better, so you start covering more distance, and then there are some which dodge your attacks, and you have to switch between the 2 sides, and then some will drop weapons, and then suddenly you're hacking people up. And you get into this flow, and afterwards, after I'd smash a level and do really well and get like a gold or a platinum, I was clenching my controller, just going like, ugh! Just like a fucking moron. And I love it. And then there's like lightsaber levels, and then there was a nunchuck level, and it's like, you fucking brilliant humans, you made this, and it costs no money.
Yeah.
So get it. Fucking go and get it right now.
Yeah. It really is special. I mean, what it reminded me of, because I had the same thing as you when I found it. I played it for a ridiculous amount of time, and I did it again this week. It's not on my list because I knew you were going to talk about it, but it would probably be my number one. It reminded me of the time when we were at university, when for some reason we got obsessed with playing Samba de Amigo.
Yeah.
And we'd play it all day, and then I remember there was one time I was like, oh well, I've got to go and I've got to write an essay or something, and you said, okay, well I'm going to take the disc and I'm going to go and beat your high score on the Austin Powers theme tune. And I was like, okay, this essay is going to take about 2 hours. I'll meet you on your front of your halls in 2 hours and 10 minutes, and you can give me the disc back. Because I couldn't. It was like passing around the communal crack pipe. We couldn't be without it. And that's how I felt, because it was impossible to turn it off. And I just wish that, it's so, they're so segregated, those indie games, that when truly great. I mean, Mount Your Friends is broken out, and this is a much more niche game, and I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. But it's just, you feel so powerless because it is that fucking good.
Yeah.
And ridiculously compelling. And I did exactly the same as you. On 2 occasions, I've sat there for at least 5 or 6 times longer than I intended to, just smashing it out, because it is genuinely exciting. And I'm going back. The only thing that is upsetting about it, upsetting is a bit of an overstatement, but. Apparently, Microsoft don't allow indie games to have online leaderboards at all. It's just a rule. That's something I heard from watching a video, which you should watch. The creators of this game, Silver Dollar Games, they've made a video called "Who is Silver Dollar Games?" and it's on YouTube. It's about half an hour long, but it's fascinating because not only are they having a pop at everyone who doesn't like what they do, they unveil a lot of nuggets of information about being an XBLIG developer like that one. So it's half an hour long. Who is Silver Dollar Games? It's on YouTube. Find it, watch it. But yeah, with interactive leaderboards, that's another thing. It's preventing this from being the sort of. It could be so much. It could double or triple in popularity if they had online leaderboards. Because I'd be trying to smash up all your scores non-stop.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. But yeah, if you've ever liked any, I mean, you must have a vague idea about what it sounds like. If you do like what it sounds like, you've got to try it. It's really, really quite thick. It's on PC as well, I think. Is it?
It is on PC.
It is. So yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's the biz.
Oh, it's the mustard. It's the absolute mustard. I was a little unsure of the first 2 levels, and then then it just took off. And I genuinely could have just sat there and played the whole thing, and I still don't think I would have stopped.
Yeah.
I'd have just gone back and tried to platinum everything.
Yeah.
Every time you starts getting a little bit samey as well, it'll come up with a new idea. And I was like, the fucking nunchuck level was so gleam.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, that's the sign of a great game when it knows when it's getting when it's overdone.
And then the stuff where it does like it zooms in and you kick a guy's head off
and his
then
eye
it just
comes
keeps
flying out.
Yeah. Or you just like go into Zen mode all of a sudden and the screen goes white. Or have you had that thing where you've got one last bit of life and then it's like it does this big like rigmarole about it when you've got a sword and like everything goes into slow motion?
I think I have, yeah. And
it's just so good. So every idea.
Yeah, it really is good, and it's 80 Microsoft points. So
yeah,
you'd be mental to avoid it if you can not avoid it. Okay, my number 1 is Resident Evil 6. Yeah, it's been on my shelf since the game came out because Xeno's had it as well, and we've been waiting for the right time, and now was the right time. We've started doing it on co-op, like we said last year. I won't say much about it because we spoke about it at length repeatedly when it came out. I still think it's hugely underrated, but now I don't think you can really talk about it until you've played it on co-op game, because there are games that are made for co-op and then there's games that are made for co-op, and this game... It's twice. I mean, you were slightly less enthusiastic than I was, but I really liked Resident Evil 6. There was so much wrong with it, but I think that I could, I thought it worked as a really, really sort of belligerent sort of an action game. It has nothing to do with Resident Evil at all, and I hated Resident Evil 5, but 6 I really like. But on co-op, it's just so dynamic. There's action going on constantly. I mean, some of the best bits are at the beginning of Leon's campaign, where it's kind of like the beginning of Last of Us, weirdly enough, where everyone's going mental because the virus has broken out, and there are just people driving around, knocking other pedestrians over, cars flying everywhere, and it's all happening in game. So the amount of times one of us would run in almost in front of a car, like, pull out, run back, there's a fucking car going about to crash into you. Stuff that you don't... that action games don't have the money to do, but this is just throw everything up the wall, $100 million fucking absolute monster. So there's stuff we just like, that was so gleam. A huge action scene that we genuinely were partaking in. And in all co-op games, there are moments where you say, can you see me? Are we supposed to... Oh, fuck, you shoot down, help me out. There are moments like that in every co-op game where it suddenly throws you into a scenario where you're really cooperating to help each other. This is almost nothing but those. Do you remember the bit when you're fighting on this fish? You're underwater and Leon and what's her name are on this fish holding on, and the camera just keeps panning between you, and it's only quick time events, but you're watching it together. So I'm watching him fuck up a quick time event, and then I'm doing one, and it keeps zooming. I mean, there's so little of it that's just boring, mundane. The stuff that was in Resident Evil 5, for example. It's all really dynamic, really exciting stuff that could only have been achieved with a ridiculous amount of money thrown at it. I forgot how unfeasibly large it was. Those 4 campaigns. I mean, we played it all night Saturday night. We played a little bit on Sunday, and we're still like 2 chapters into one campaign of however many, and I think they're approaching 8 hours long each one.
Yeah, they are.
And it's a strange thing to say about a game that's rumoured to have cost $100 million, but it has a really bright future as a truly cult game, because I think people were discovering it, hearing all the bad press and just hearing about how terrible it was. I mean, it's hokey, and I meant to write down, in the opening 20 minutes, the dialogue fucking stinks. I mean, it's one. I mean, Resident Evil has always had terrible dialogue, but you've got 2 partners who've worked together for fucking ages, and one of them says, make sure you shoot them in the head. I mean, it's just completely moronic. It's the most moronic Resident Evil game, which is saying something. But if you're doing it on co-op, it just doesn't stop throwing brilliant moments at you. But it's not Resident Evil. But man, it's so entertaining.
I hope you still feel that way when you get towards the end of the campaign that you're doing, because I liked it up until the end of the Chris campaign, when it turned to such utter shit that I wanted to I don't know. I was very upset. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to kill anyone. I didn't want to smash the disc. That's just lies, isn't it? Why would I say that? I just didn't want to play that shit.
The end of the Chris Redfield campaign.
Yep.
The one I'm doing is what did I say? Chris Redfield.
You said Leon.
Leon, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I assumed that one will probably go to shit as well. There are parts towards the end of the Chris Redfield campaign that are so fucking boneheaded that you have no idea how they could have ever have passed testing. And I assume the game was just too fucking big to test everything and tighten everything up. Just insta-death bollocks. But
I don't remember having those issues on single player. But then again, I don't know. I mean, I'll let you know if we have them on co-op. But I'm telling you, on co-op, it does feel like a different game. It's so dynamic, the way you interact with the action. You constantly feel like you're partaking in a dumb, stupid fucking movie. And it's really, really entertaining if you can accept the fact that it bears absolutely fuck all relation to any Resident Evil game, even 5. But yeah, I like it.
Isn't it? It's in a sale, isn't it? I think.
I don't think it's in the current one, is it?
I don't know then. No, maybe I made that up.
Indeed.
Maybe I made that up. All right, my number one is a game I talked about way too much on this podcast, but I finally finished it, Hotline Miami.
Oh, yeah.
The Vita version is the best version. I've heard that if you're really good at the PC version, maybe that's the best. I don't know. I don't care. For me, the Vita version was the best version. One, no bugs. 0 bugs from beginning to end. Thank fuck. Number 2, controls beautiful. Number 3, controls beautiful? Fucking idiot. Number 3, looks amazing on the screen, as amazing as this game can look. And what was really cool about it is that the story wraps up in kind of a really interesting and satisfying way. The whole game is very trippy, as you probably know, and very weird, and lots of stuff happens. It's very surreal that you don't know what's going on. But yeah, by the time you get to the end of it, and I had a look online as well, some interpretations, and it ties stuff together really well without actually giving away any proper answers. And yeah, I mean, the Drive is referenced in the actual credits of the game, or should I say, the director is thanked. The influence is there for all to see, but it is a very, very good game. The fact that I kept going back to it, despite all the problems that I had on all these different formats, says something about it. And I'm very good. If I'd only played it on Vita and I'd never had any of those problems, I'd be thinking it was a masterpiece. So I'm very much looking forward to the sequel. I'm very glad I finally finished it. I don't know if I'll go back to this one now, just because the thought of playing those early levels again is a killer, because I've done them so many times. But Hotline Miami, get it. It's like £2 on PC at the moment in some sort of sale, and it's only £6, $6.74 I believe on PlayStation.
Okay, yeah, I mean I've now have 2 reasons to turn on the PlayStation 3.
You do indeed.
So I will sort that out this week.
No, I've said this many times, but I genuinely think you'll love it.
Yeah, I've no doubt I have, and I've still managed to somehow have I don't even know what it looks like. Still, I somehow have managed to avoid everything. Really? Not even a screenshot. I don't know what it looks like. I haven't heard the soundtrack. I still am not 100% certain I know exactly how the game works, but I will, hopefully I'll get the time, in which case I will get it before next week.
Cool.
But you would recommend the PSN one over the PC?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would now. I like the way it worked with the controller, but the main reason being that there was no bugs.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a plus. That is a plus. Okay, all right, cool. That's us done. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, we're on Twitter at John Denton, at Chet Rovers, or at Chet and Johns if you want a tweet every week when the new episode's ready. We're on YouTube, stuff on there occasionally. The website's bollocks. That's it. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. Hopefully, speak to you again next week.
Yeah, sorry about a summer drought, but you know what I'm saying. Frobisher says. Peace out.
Genuine.
Before calling in the airstrike, you stupid fuck.
It wants everyone to succeed. It's really straightforward. You have to press. It's like monkey see, monkey do. There are 20 commands to do in order, although it's easy to jump the gun and make mistakes. But a second chance, it's on Newgrounds, as you said. So it's actually quite hard to find because if you search it in Google, something else comes up. And it isn't even on the first and the second page of Google. So if you're interested, go to Newgrounds first and then search for second chance in there. It's it's permanently in like the highest rated, I think.
All right, we'll tweet it out on the Chet and John's Twitter feed.
Yeah, all right, sound.
Well, if we don't forget.
Yeah, it's very good.
All right, my number 8 is Bastion. Sorry, I wrote that in such bad handwriting that it looked like Batman. Bastion on the iPhone, which cost 69p this week. It's weird because I was just thinking to myself that very day, I really fancy this game Bastion because everybody's talking about their new game, the Transistor. Excuse me, on PS4, and this is Supergiant Games. I think they're based in San Francisco. Anyway, the Bastion, everyone was banging on about how good it is, and it came out on the iPhone for 69p. It is a dungeon crawler where the levels make themselves as you're walking through them. They kind of fall down from the sky, and the big hook about the game is that every one of your actions is voiced over by like a really well acted, halfway between Sin City style noir and someone from the Old West kind of narrating everything you do. You play as the kid, and he's always talking about the kid. You know, I can't.
You can do literally is tap to jump from left to right to left to right. So there's 3 lanes. You avoid the traffic. You jump up to grab collectibles and fruit, and then you build a boost meter where you just hammer it and smash through everything. The reason I cited Outrun is because I'm pretty sure there are little pointers like the flags that you pass when you get to a checkpoint. As soon as I saw one go past, I was like, that looks like the flags that you used to pass in Outrun. It's very simple, but it's surprisingly gripping because after a while it goes so fast that everything's you have to anticipate everything. So as the split second you see something come over the hill, bounce. It's completely passable. Actually, rather good. I don't know if there's much shelf life to it, but it's I liked it.
80 pointage?
80 points. Fanny Granny's Great Escape. It's really not bad.
I don't know how you find this shit, honestly. I really don't. All right, my number 9 is a game I can't talk about, but it's Pikmin 3. I started playing it today. I can't talk about it because of rules. In fact, I haven't signed anything or anything, but, I don't want to get anyone else in trouble. It looks nice. I think I can probably say that because we already knew that it looks nice. And, Nintendo make good games, but we already knew that anyway, so that's not breaking the embargo either.
When is the embargo up?
It was originally the 11th, and now it's changed to the 22nd, which is, I'm pretty sure, after the game is out in America. Oh. But that might just be some sort of admin error. Just don't worry about that, is what I'd say.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean...
England, we have a problem.
Hello, welcome to episode 70 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is John Denton. With me as always, Chet Roivas.
You're ghosting us, motherfucker. I don't care who you are back in the world. If you give our position away one more time, I'll bleed you real quiet, leave you here. Got that?
If you've never listened to the podcast before, I imagine you've already switched off. 2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we played the most. Let's do this thing, Chet.
Okay, right, my number 10 is a game called Dumb Runner on iOS. I played it on the iPhone. It's another game that I'm sorry, I can't remember where I found it. I'm 90% sure it is still free, so it's a free game, but I wouldn't advise playing it. It's an absurdly basic, it's not really a platform. There's a line across the middle of the screen, and you're a little guy walking along it. Tap the screen, you'll flip upside down, and you'll be upside down. Flip it again, you go on the other side. There's another move, which is like a skid move, so you can slide under blocks. Basically, very small blocks come, you have to avoid them, so you flip from side to side to side, or you can slide on the ones that are slightly higher up. It's unbelievably difficult, even on easy. You put it on easy, it's unbelievably difficult. You play it for a maximum of about 60 seconds. I mean, I've got a wholehearted belief in that game. You bastard. Okay, my number 8 is A Second Chance, the Newgrounds game that you spoke about last week.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, you said that you control the Houston We Have a Problem guy.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Why?
Because Houston We Have a Problem is what they say when they're in space, and Houston is the problem solvers. on the ground.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
he wouldn't say that up to them, would he?
Exactly.
That wouldn't be much of a vote of confidence.
But then again, I'm an idiot. I only realised it like, bing, a week later, like fucking Homer Simpson. It is very good. Like you said, it's a perfect game for the format because you play it, you can do it in about 5-10 minutes, and it's very entertaining. You basically, as you said last week, you have to pilot command a ship to the moon. They drop a bomb. Everything you do is at the touch of a button. So drop bomb, get back in the spaceship, power the spaceship on. You basically have to fulfill about 20 commands in total, but it's really easy to mistakenly jump the gun. Like once I got the rocket to the moon, I forgot to turn the engines off, and I just pressed take off again, and it went straight back to England. It went straight back. It went straight back to Earth, and then the world blew up. And yeah, there's that amusing animation of the guy slapping his forehead, which is really funny because like every time I died, the guy mimicked what I'd done. And yeah, it's really funny. You can do it in about 5 minutes. The top whack, 60 seconds on easy mode, and it becomes brutally difficult. It's incredibly basic. It looks like it's someone's first game. And the music, imagine selecting the most irritating 2 seconds of the Seinfeld theme tune and then putting it on an endless loop. That's what it is. So not recommended. Dumb Runner, stay away.
I couldn't even imagine that music.
Yeah, it's horrible. It, coupled with a pointlessly difficult game, it's fucking irritating, I'll tell you that.
That almost makes me want to play it just to experience the hell.
Well, download it, Dumb Runner.
All right, Dumb Runner.
Get on. Yeah.
I'm there. My number 10, really simple, is Metro Last Light. I told you I'm crawling through this game, and a pathetic effort. I played it for about 10 minutes and then realised that I wasn't really in the mood, so I turned it off. I don't have anything more to say, but I've not played enough games this week, so I had to put that on the top of the list. One day I'll get to the end of it. It's not even that long.
Oh, okay. How do you know that?
Because you can see how many chapters there are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I've actually got Metro here, so I'm going to start that ASAP. Yeah, so I'll speak about that hopefully next week. My number 9 is a game called Fanny Granny's Great Escape on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game, and it's genuinely not bad. It's a driving game, and it's kind of rendered in Outrun style. It's deliberately meant to look retro. So the death screen, the game over screen, hangs on a horrible high-pitched noise like a crashed Spectrum game. And yeah, you're just a granny in a little granny cart driving forward at ridiculously high speeds, and there's 3 lanes. All